to cashyourgreens.com. This is Marcelina, your host. Today we're going to be learning about container gardening and how to grow roses in a container. Also, I'm going to introduce you to a crates gardening ideas so you can apply this method for future growing. There will be activity into this video, so I want you guys to watch the video until to the end because there are so many gardening information that I will be sharing with you today. So let's get started and see me on the other side. We have our container here in different features and sizes, and I'm going to explain it to you the pros and cons of growing roses in containers. Now, roses thrive in containers. You just need to spend little time choosing suitable roses and the perfect containers for them. Now, let's start with this small pot. This is a banded pot. I grow my seedlings in this container. I also sell my rose plant from this pot. If you buy a rose that comes from this container, transfer them right away into a regular container because this is only good for seedlings. Now, let's move on to the second container. Here is a 1-gallon pot. This is a perfect size for growing miniature rose, but it's not a good size for growing regular rose bush. The third container here, this is a 2-gallon pot. This is perfect size for miniature roses. Also, you can grow a regular rose bush in this container, but again, within few years, the plant will outgrow. So you need to transfer your rose bush from this container to a bigger pot. Now here we have a regular size container. This is a perfect size for growing regular rose bush, or you can grow a bigger plant in this container because we have more space inside. The root system can grow and expand. Now the problem of this container, there is no hole, so there is no good air circulation. The root system will become root bound. Now I want to show you what happens when it becomes root bound. This is a root bound. Can you imagine your root turns like that? So there is no good circulation in here. No matter how much nutrients you give to your plant, the root cannot take up that nutrients, and eventually your plant will die. So again, if you plant your rose in this kind of planter, just create a holes in it so the root system can breathe. Now here is the good size containers. You see this a lot in the nursery, so when you buy roses or buy a bigger plant, so we have a good drainage, also a good holes in here. The root system can breathe air inside, and it is a cell prone, so you don't have to worry about root bound in this container. So you can keep your plant here in few years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and then if you decide to transfer them into a bigger, larger pot or into the garden, you can. But again, this is a good size container. Now I have a container that I'm going to introduce it to you. The different container. I don't use much of the plastic container because of their drawback. I use breathable container, and will continue after this.
Subscribe now.
Subscribe, mate!
So this is the container that I grow my roses. This is the crate container. I use the weed guard to cover around it to make the container look better, but there is also another way that you can dress up your container garden. So I will show you to guys, and again, keep watching. This is my wooden planter. I have it built. I painted with gray because I want to look more rustic. I put my rose plant in this planter, but I took it out the other day because I want to replace different plant. So I put the stone crop instead. This is the flower that will tell you fall is here. As you can see, the flower changes in color from green to pink. This is winter hardy, so I will keep this plant here in this container during the winter. So you can dress up your crates container. That is good thing about crate. You can carry easily. You can move around, or you can put in different spot. And if you don't want to look the black color of the fabric, so you can build a wooden planter like what you see here in this video and paint in different color. I already have a video on how to build your own super prone container, which is the crates, but for those of you who did not see the video, I will go over the materials again, and we will build this container today together. So let's get started and join me in the garden. when you transfer a rose plant in from the container, make sure you water them so it's easy to slide out. But it was not easy. You saw me, I was fighting to take that plant out from the container. I have to press down the container, roll the plant back and forth to loosen the soil, and I finally managed it. Now let's go over the materials we covered today about container gardening and how to grow roses in the container. One of the major problems that I would want you guys to look into consideration is root bound. That's why I would suggest that grow your roses in a breathable container. When the plant is in root bound, there is a problem absorbing the nutrients. The root system cannot take up nutrients because they're just trapped in there in the container. There is no good air circulation. So no matter how much fertilizer you give to your rose, the plant will die eventually. So I suggest to grow in the pot, closed pot, or in a crate container. The crate container is a perfect container for growing roses. You can grow regular rose or bigger plant. It is breathable and it is also cell-prone, so your root system doesn't go into a root bound, and it's easy for the root to absorb more nutrients, and then the plant will grow well. And you can just dress your crates if you don't want to see the black wrap. You just build a wooden planter like what I did, and then you put your crates in the wooden planter, and this would look good in your garden. And also, what type of soil? Now, I would suggest you guys to use the soilless soil. Don't use the regular soil because it's heavy and it is hard for the water to drain. So use the soilless media, and you can buy any kind of soilless. I use the Happy Frog. If you don't have that, then use different kind of brand. And the reason using the soilless, it's easy to drain the water, and also it is lighter, and it's easy for you to carry your container from, if you want to move it from one place to another. Now, fertilizer. What type of fertilizer? Well, you can give any kind of fertilizer to your rose plant. If you have the big number, the NPK, you are all set. That is the most important nutrients that the plants need: the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And then the rest of it, you can either give them, or if there is missing traceable materials, then that's okay. But if you give them fertilizer that has everything on it, that is fine. So you can use either the granule or the liquid. Now I will give you a little bit information about using the granule as opposed to liquid. The granule, there is a time frame. So if you give a granule to the plant, there's a direction that you cannot give within 6 months. So your plant can have that nutrients through the 6 months period. And then the liquid, you can give them every 2 weeks because the liquid will drain properly. But again, you can use any kind of fertilizer. I use organic to fertilize my rose. I give them fish fertilizer. I have pond in here that I grow tilapia and also grow koi, so I use the water from that pond, and also I use the different types of organic fertilizer. Now, as I mentioned, grow the roses in a breathable container. Use the crates. It's a perfect container for roses, and also it's cheap. You can buy it $3 from Home Depot. And I hope this container will help you guys in the container gardening. And I have question for you. Can you keep the rose in the container forever? Can you? Write your comment in this video below.